Also here at 6, the former head of the Jackson Health Foundation arrested, accused of financial fraud. Charmaine Gatlin was taken into custody by federal agents following an investigation into misappropriated funds. The foundation is a nonprofit that raises money for Jackson Health. Her charges include 26 counts of wire fraud and 5 counts of money laundering. Gatlin is expected in court later this week. Jackson's CEO reacting to the arrest, saying, quote, "Stealing from the public's hospital system is a despicable act, and anyone who does so should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. What has happened is infuriating, but it certainly does not define the mission or integrity of this foundation," end quote.
Charmaine Gatlin.
And positions? Just asking so
Worker bees for the 100.
Yeah.
Worker bees for the 100.
Meet Charmaine Gatlin, wife, softball mom, a proud graduate of the University of Florida, diehard alum. Charmaine spent the last decade as COO of Jackson Health Foundation in South Florida. Her job, planning galas, mingling with donors, and putting on her best smile for the camera look at charity events. For years, she snapped selfies with donors, soaked in the praise, and was the boss belle of every fundraising ball. Looked like she had it all together. She lived in a nice home, a nice neighborhood, new cars for herself, her husband, her daughter. She was excelling in her personal life, and professionally, she was a star at Jackson Health. In fact, the organization honored her on social media for Black History Month back in 2021. Here's the official post. They wrote, "In celebration of Black History Month, we are proud to recognize our Chief Operating Officer and Co-President, Charmaine Gatlin. Charmaine has been a driving force behind the foundation's success since 2014. Before joining the foundation, Charmaine held executive positions with the NFL, the Orange Bowl Committee, and 100 Black Men of America. Her strong work ethic and passion for philanthropy has helped the foundation navigate the C-19 pandemic and continue raising much-needed funds to support Jackson Health System. Thank you, Charmaine, for your continued leadership." And just 3.5 years following this post, all the praise turned to shame when Charmaine was pushed out the building. Yeah, Jackson Health revoked her access. She and her family packed up and ran out of South Florida to an area in South Georgia. This is after an investigation by Jackson Health found Charmaine stole millions from the very foundation she was trusted to run for 10 years. And now, Charmaine was arrested by the feds. Take a second to make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. So a federal indictment unsealed charges former Chief Operating Officer of Jackson Health Foundation with designing a scheme to embezzle from the nonprofit foundation by submitting false invoices and taking kickbacks. According to the indictment, 52-year-old Charmaine Gatlin, formerly of Weston, Florida, served as the COO of Jackson Health Foundation from 2014 to 2024. That foundation is a very crucial fundraising arm of the Jackson Health System that's intended to help patients of Jackson Memorial Hospital and other locations in South Florida, specifically in Miami-Dade County, from North Miami and Opa-locka to Doral and Cutler Bay. They also support patients getting care in a few locations in Broward County, like their facilities in Plantation and Pompano. Jackson Health is a nonprofit hospital and medical system that served Miami-Dade County for 107 years. So as a nonprofit, they get a lot of philanthropic contributions. They also receive funding from sales taxes, federal government programs, and other sources. As COO, Charmaine Gatlin received a base salary ranging from $185,000 to $290,000 per year over the 10 years that she worked at the foundation. Again, that was her base salary. And as a condition of her employment, she signed a conflict of interest form with the foundation that prevented her from making decisions that resulted in personal gain. The indictment alleges that Charmaine submitted false invoices to the foundation for at least $3.6 million in goods and services that funded kickbacks to herself. On top of that, These goods were never provided to the foundation or Jackson. Instead, they were provided to Charmaine and her relatives, not the hospital. She also had money and goods that were provided to an Atlanta-based civic organization. That Atlanta organization got a lot of money from the foundation through Charmaine. Then she approved approximately $2 million in invoices to a Georgia-based audiovisual company for services that were not provided to the foundation. Instead, the vendor allegedly paid $1 million in kickbacks directly to Charmaine, some of which she used to pay her own personal credit card bill and whatever else she wanted to spend the money on. Now get this. She coached the audiovisual company via email on how to falsify invoices so that they can get the $2 million payment and split the money with her. The indictment also alleges that Charmaine falsified invoices from a merchandise vendor who, at Charmaine's request, bought her expensive designer gifts from Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and Apple. And the crazy thing is, she would always order gifts and other items for people in the office, her staff, employees. Like, for instance, this is one order that she made for Valentine's Day for her staff. Just know whenever they do this, it's always a cover-up to throw people off and distract from what she's doing. Charmaine also submitted a false invoice to the foundation for the purchase of a new rose gold colored golf cart that she had delivered to her Weston, Florida home in September 2023. The indictment charges Charmaine with 1 count of wire fraud conspiracy, 26 counts of wire fraud, and 5 counts of money laundering. She's facing up to 20 years in prison on each of the conspiracy and wire fraud counts. She's also facing up to 10 years in prison on each money laundering count.
Well, we continue working a developing story at Jackson Health. A former member of the hospital's top brass has been busted by the feds. Local 10's Glenna Milberg is live in Miami with what she's learned. Glenna.
For stealing from her own public charity, Nicole, they saw it coming here because it was Jackson's brass who found it in the first place last fall and notified federal agents. And Charmaine Gatlin, who was the COO here until last fall, she made her first court appearance in Georgia just a few hours ago.
Jackson Foundation's smiling former boss on LinkedIn is now a federal criminal defendant charged with laundering money, millions donated for the medically needy, for sick children, for the indigent, and those who need Miami-Dade's public safety net. Charmaine Gatlin was the foundation's chief operating officer for a decade until last November, fired when Jackson Health System brass found the fuzzy math. Alerted federal agents have been working with them ever since. Expensive gifts from Louis Vuitton and Gucci, orchestrated from a foundation vendor. Kickbacks, doctored invoices, a rose gold golf cart that may have looked like this one, delivered to her home then in Weston. All per federal agents who tally $3.6 million for Gatlin, her family, and also a nonprofit in Atlanta. It was in Georgia, where Gatlin now lives, that FBI agents arrested her Wednesday and where she made her first appearance in federal court. Hours later, Jackson's employees, who were already spreading the news, received this email from the top, angry and disappointed that someone so trusted could steal millions meant for the people who come to Jackson for help and hope.
And you know, we always try to get all sides of the story. We did have a phone number for Gatlin's home in Georgia and called it, and a man answered. And what he said was, all of this is very premature, and then he hung up. So Gatlin is due back in Miami, her next court date, because she is charged here in Miami-Dade County, and that is June 4th.
After a decade of smiling for the cameras and collecting praise like paychecks, Charmaine Gatlin was finally exposed. Not as a celebrated nonprofit executive, but as a master manipulator who siphoned millions from a foundation built to support sick and struggling patients. While Jackson Health was fighting to save lives, Charmaine was living her best life, buying designer bags, luxury golf carts, shady kickbacks, $1 million, fake invoices, all bankrolled by donations meant to help families drowning in medical bills. And she didn't just betray an organization, she exploited hope, compassion, and the generosity of a community that trusted her. I mean, Charmaine will go around donating jackets to girls' basketball teams. She was praised for paying for lunches and brunches and events for women. Meanwhile, the whole time, she was stealing millions. And it's not like they didn't pay her enough money. Her base salary alone was about $300,000 per year. But no, that wasn't enough money for her. She wanted more. And as you can see, she was going to get her hands on millions by any means necessary, even if that meant stealing from the same organization that put her in position to live a decent life with her family. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about this below. Special thank you to Paul and Lash. I appreciate you for your support for the channel, as well as Queen of the Jungle, Ninth One, Adrian, JLJ504, and I can't forget about our brother Rod P. Once again, I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel. You can show your support as well. The link to PayPal is below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.